Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us today. I'm very happy to introduce Mr. Jawad Salim, who's our expert from the textile sector, who's joined us today to discuss how is the textile sector doing in Pakistan, what is the role of accountants, particularly in the textile sector, what are some of the challenges being faced, and what should we look forward to. Jawad, let me very quickly introduce him, has been an ACCA's strong support since many years. Currently, he's working as the CFO of Outfitters, a known textile retail outlet and also vertically integrated. So I think it's an excellent opportunity for us to know this sector through and through, and also at the same time talk to an expert who has first-hand experience, about this sector. We look forward to very healthy participation and questions from all of you. So keep your questions flowing. Just for convenience of those individuals of using this webinar software for the first time, there is a questions dialog box available to you. So keep your questions coming in, and we will be flagging them. So during the question answer session, one by one, all the questions that you will send us, we will put them up to Jawad for an answer. At the same time, we are joined by about 12 ACCA members who are currently in the grind for our 6 digits program, and they're also going to be participating in the discussion. So you'll hear questions coming in from these participants as well. So without any further ado, may I request Mr. Jawad Salim to continue with this conversation.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, thank you very much to the ACCA management for giving me this opportunity to speak to you guys. It's always an honor to be here. I welcome all of the individuals sitting right in front of me, and as well as those who are attending the webinar. So, as far as the topic is concerned, it's more of the role of accountants in textile sector. So, just to give you a brief, that I'm not at all gonna give you any presentation down there. So, we will be speaking up. I'll be sharing my experience around, and so on and so forth. So, we will kick off with a bit of current textile sector dynamics. Then we'll go to challenges. Then I will speak a bit about accountants' role. We'll be sharing my own experience within the current organization, and there onwards, the question pool will open with you guys. So feel free to ask the questions down there at the end, as per the regulations being defined by the moderators down there. So why textile sector? So you will be surprised to have a few facts down there. The textile sector is one of the largest manufacturing sector in Pakistan. So definitely it's bringing a lot of opportunities around too. And I will be sharing a few more facts, like you'll be surprising for few guys who are not into statistics, that it contributes around 57% of Pakistan exports. It's contributing 8% to the GDP of Pakistan. And you will be surprised that we are the 8th largest exporter or manufacturer of textile within the Asia. We are 4th largest spinning facility all across Asia. So, a lot of potential down there. And you will also be surprised that 45% of the total labor force of Pakistan is being employed within the textile sector. So that's amazing number. So it's contributing to GDP, it's contributing to the economy, it's giving employment to the people around. And this unemployment section in Pakistan, so textile sector is playing a very vital role out there as well. So given all those numbers, still you can see or you can hear, if you're into newspapers, if you are into talk shows, then you must be listening about the challenges being in the Pakistan economy. And once we talk about challenges, not only for textile, it's for all across the industry at this point in time. You must have witnessed the recent devaluation of currency, like 30% over the period of time. It is impacted all across. It's not only textile, it's not only automobile industry, multiple industries around. The change of the textile, the change of the tax regimes all across, not only impacted textile, but all across. You must have heard recently about automobile sectors or automobile manufacturers closing their manufacturing facilities quite recently. So that is alarming. That is alarming. Same goes for many other industries whereby there is a threat of them being closed. So what else are the challenges out there in terms of textile sector? The first and foremost is like if we are not competitive in the market. Earlier, we were down the road 5 years back or 10 years back, we only say that, okay, our competitors are China, our competitors is India, our competitors is Bangladesh. But you will be surprised that in these days, one of our competitors is from Africa, which African country, Ethiopia. So why is that? The reason being that all those countries which I have just mentioned, especially in terms of Africa, in terms of Bangladesh, in terms of India, their government is giving subsidies or their government is facilitating them in different ways around. And this is making us non-competitive every passing day. With all those challenges in the economy, you must be hearing about inflation, you must be hearing about dollar devaluation, currency devaluation, you must be hearing about new tax regimes, you must be hearing about increase of electricity prices, you must be hearing about increase in gas prices. So this all is making it difficult for the industries to be competitive as well. Apart from them, recently, just this morning around, I was reading a news from one of the newspapers that this year around, by 1st October this year, we have already lost 27% of our cotton production due to some pest attack. So what does that mean? That's a disaster. Because in another way, this cotton is one of the raw materials towards the end shirts or pants or trousers, whatever you are wearing right away. So if the cotton of Pakistan is not available, which is prior to that, it's like 70% of we are using local cotton and 30% of the imported cotton percentage. With this much of a decline, we are going for imports. And with the given devaluation, once you talk about imports, that will definitely make the whole proposition out of context. We will go further non-competitive with our neighboring countries. Then on top of it, that's not the only challenge, but the other challenges with the change in tax regimes, with government is not facilitating new investors as well. Like people are moving, people prefer to move to Vietnam, people are preferring to move to Ethiopia, they prefer to move to Bangladesh. They are moving the industries out of Pakistan. Now patriotism is one thing, but again, they want to earn money out of their investments as well. So they are moving out. So this is again one of the challenges which we are facing at the moment, that our investors are not investing in Pakistan, or when the current manufacturing facilities are closing down and they are moving out of Pakistan. Because they foresee that if they go to other countries, they will get certain benefits and it will help them manufacture a cheaper product, for a cheaper and quality product down the road. So this is again, these are the challenges which we are currently facing all across. Not only in the textile sector, but yes, rest of sectors as well. You must be hearing that recently most of the traders or most of the retailers or most of the textile sectors going on strikes as well. There was a complete shutdown for at least 1 month or so in terms of processing units of textile just a month back, after the government announced a new regime, because they are not ready. That any change in the regime makes them non-competitive. I'm not sure. I'm not criticizing the government down there, but they also need to evaluate the practical side of things. Once you are changing anything within the textile sector, they need to understand that textile, whatever you implement right away, these textile sector planning guides have planned 6 to 1 year back, because they are working on seasons. Like if you talk to me like outfitters or the companies I know of in terms of retailing or in terms of textile sector, again, they are planning for summer, or they are planning for the autumn afterwards of 2020. They are not planning for coming winters, which is that's one month down the road. Same goes for when this new tax regime came in. We have already produced most of the sectors, like we have just been introduced, just 5 guys are here, or a couple of other textile sectors. They have already gone through all those production, for which you are now, at the time of selling, you are asking us to change the rates. That will change the whole proposition around. That's not only the local sector, but it same goes for the exports as well. Those are the industries who are exporting, have already negotiated a contract with exporters. They don't bother about what's happening around. They have negotiated a contract a year back or 6 months back with you at certain rate, and they expect you to produce on time within the given targeted price. And whatever happens in your country, which can be dollar devaluation, which can be tax regime change, which can be increasing prices, electricity prices, increasing gas prices, they don't bother. They have given you a contract and they want you to be to give on time or to deliver on time. So that's again, these are challenges which they miss when they are giving all those textile policies or all those new tax regimes. So these challenges are there. So in terms of bringing coming out of these challenges all around, the question is like, what is the role we have to play in this? What the accountants can do? How can we save our organizations in terms of all this fiasco? At the end, we are the business partners. So the role is simple. The few of the things which everyone is doing all across the organization, we are doing budgeting and costing. That is normal. Everyone is doing. We are doing working capital management. Yes, we are doing. We are responsible for financial closings. We are doing it. We are responsible for tax compliances. Yes, we are doing it. We are responsible for legal compliances. Yes, we are doing it. But one thing which I won't quote any percentage of people around, but I would say the larger number or the most of the people around misses is a commercial sense. In these sort of circumstances, one needs to have a commercial sense around as well. What's happening within the organization? How is it working? What processes are involved within your whole manufacturing or value chain? Which is one of the most important aspects in this whole scenario. So if we talk about let's take it in a way that I quote you an example, and then we move on at how these changes impact us and how we try to get out of these changes and what a sort of role we can play, and why I say that we need to have a commercial sense in order to get best out of the whole value chain. Like for example, most of the people all across me are wearing these shirts and trousers all around. So let's take an example. Like I need to manufacture these trousers. What happens first? We need to understand the whole process. First of all, whatever the retail organization or your buyers down in the different countries for exports, what they do? Their designers first of all conceptualize the idea. They bring in an idea that they bring you a design that we want this sort of a product, which is based on certain aspirations around. These aspirations they can bring in from anywhere across the world. Like for us, if you talk about our current organization as a movement, my designers might be working on autumn season or for 2020 or maybe beyond that. We are not working on summer at the moment. We are not working on winter. It's been done already a year back. So they are working on that aspect. So once a designer comes up with a design, the next part is like any organization of a retail site prepares a prototype. That prototype is a sort of you can say a physical version of that design. The next step is that once that proto is in place, then it goes to a merchandising department or a planning department, or we can say planning and production department. What they do? The merchandiser is supposed to give you a costing for it. What this proto will cost. When? Now where I say the problem is when 8 to 9 months back when it is being sold in a retail or being exported. You want me to quote, like if you guys, if all of you guys are aware of Pakistan devaluation cycle or the currency devaluation, it has devalued by around 30-35% over the period of only 6 months. And you are at the same time a merchandiser is giving me a cost around 9 months of a window. 9 months before it has to be produced or it has to be in the retail side. So merchandiser gives you a cost based on certain parameters. So this role is, I will come back to it, why our role is important in the merchandising part. They will give you certain cost based on whatever the fabric they want to induct. What is the fabric cost? What are the accessories has to be inducted in that particular product or the product they are costing for, and so on and so forth. Once that merchandise locks a cost, then it goes to production and planning department. Production planning department will let you know that whether the current capacities are aligned with whatever the capacity is being demanded by the buyer or a retailer. Once the PPC department gets you this sort of data, then they also give you the whole purchase plan as well, which is like MRP. We call it material requisition plan. That material requisition plan is being prepared. Once that material requisition plan is being prepared, it's being shared all across as well. The material acquisition plan not only shares with you the cost, they also share with you the what sort of quantity is being allotted that particular product. Like for a shirt, for example, I not only need the fabric, I might need these curves, I might need these buttons, I might need multiple other aspects. I need certain yarn or certain fabric to stitch it as well. It involves multiple processes. So once I say multiple processes, then we also need to understand that how did that work. That involves that process starts from where? That process starts from cotton procurement. Afterwards, from cotton, it goes to ginning, then goes to spinning department. Spinning through spinning, spinning industries we get a yarn. Afterward, yarn is being woven. Once the yarn is woven, it comes in the form of fabric. Then this fabric is being dyed or the fabric is being printed. Afterwards, it's come to processing industry. You cut the fabric based on the that PPC or that design. Then afterwards goes to stitching. From stitching to finishing and then into packing, and then it's dispatched. So these are multiple processes involved in this whole cycle, and the role of accountants all across is important. Now, why I'm saying this thing is like, if first of all, as I mentioned, that merchandise is giving you the cost. So what's the role of accountant out there? It's giving certain cost, whether it is right or not. Whatever cost it's giving, you must be doing certain analysis out there. Your analytical skills are important. Once it's giving any cost, it's giving based on certain assumptions. You need to be very well aware of the current cotton rates. You will need to be very well aware of the current yarn rates. You need to be very well aware of the fabric processing charges. You need to be very well aware of the fixed costs in the organization. So that's why I say that it's not only accounting. We need to focus on the commercial side of the business as well. We need to understand the dynamics. If you know all these things, then you will be contributing towards the organization or towards the whole value chain. Accounting, bookkeeping, probably to me is like a BCom can do as well. These professionals are there to add value. And value addition these days is completely out of bookkeeping. It's not bookkeeping anymore. Systems are doing it for you. We have to understand the commercial dynamics. On the first part, if the costing is not done right, based on that costing, you are signing off a contract with either with your importers or exporters, either with your retail entity as well. Based on that, you are doing everything. This is the first thing. If the basics are wrong, and afterwards everything gets out of control. Same goes for if once that fabric is going into cutting part, then if you don't understand the cutting process, then you can never ever be able to identify the losses from within that cutting department. Even like for me, it's like when I joined my current organization, the first thing I did is like I visited the whole factory all around. I understood the whole dynamics down there. I even understood that how those cutting markers are being taped on the cutting table out there. How does that work? Why I did that is the only reason is that I want to know what are the cutting waste out there. Why are they saying that I'm giving them, if for sake of example, I'm giving them a 5 meter of fabric, and after cutting they are just giving me they are able to reconcile only 4.5 meter. Where is the rest going? For that, I need to understand that whenever you are placing fabric on the cutting table, it has to be cut under certain marks. You have to first mark it down and then you start cutting it. That calls for certain waste as well, because whatever you are cutting or all those leftovers are wastage. So if you don't understand that, you will never ever be able to reconcile things. Next is like for the sake of example, why I say the commercial aspect is important. Like from cutting, it goes to stitching. Again, I say that I've given from cutting department, stitching department has got certain fabric being issued or cut pieces being issued for stitching. So if I don't know what is my stitching capacity, if I don't know what is my skilled labor, what's the skill of my labor down there, what is average stitching garments per minute. If I don't know that, I will never ever be able to reconcile between the cutting issuers and the stitching closure of them. One needs to understand. So stitching dynamics, as far as stitching dynamics are concerned, that if I am operating on one stitching machine, maybe I am producing 5 garments out of the same stitching machine in 1 hour. But if XYZ person is going to skill level is much better than me, might be producing 10 out of the same machine. That skill level is important. Based on that, I am allocating the whole capacity. I am measuring the whole capacity. My stitching unit has certain efficiency down there. If PPC says that our stitching capacity is 35,000 units per day, my question, if either I rely blindly on them, or either I will start understanding the dynamics and how is that 35,000 is being calculated out there. It's based on the number of stitching machines, it's based on the skill level of the worker, it's based on the whatever the product is in the line, how much time is taking and on an average to get that product produced or being stitched. Now, you talk about any of the processes in the textile sector. Now, if you talk about spinning as well, same goes out there too. That whatever the cotton base coming in, whatever you are putting in the spinning unit, how much yarn you are getting out of it. Until and unless you understand the whole dynamics of the spinning unit, how those spindles work, what is the capacity of that plant, you won't be able to reconcile anything. And that is where I say that the role is important. You need to understand the commercial dynamics, and these are the small things where you will be able to add value, where you will truly be able to act as a business partner with your rest of the commercial teams, and you will let them know that there the wastages are. We have to control, okay, I cannot change macroeconomic environment as of today, but at least I can control the cost within the organization without hampering the quality of the product. It's just like maybe if you guys are sitting in this room or the management is sitting in this room for 15 or 20 odd days, they might not realize the defects within the wall or defects within the chairs down there because they are too used to it. I'm coming from a different background. Maybe I come in and I identify, okay, that needs to be fixed. Same goes for those guys on ground or the in charge on ground, that he might not understand sometimes within the flow of work. They are too used to doing the same thing all day long that they sometimes miss the whole thing out there. These small things they miss out. Same goes for weaving. Even in terms of stitching unit, you need one of the things which I have realized over the period of time is like I'm just sharing my practical experiences down there. That's why there is no presentation I prepared. Now again, one of the things which I have contributed recently is like what we are doing is like we used to procure a yarn. Like we are in the fashion retail industry, so we start from procuring yarn. So once the yarn is procured, we send it for processing. Now, for the last many years, we were not doing any sort of reconciliation between what the yarn we are sending, what the processing garment we are getting out of it, the grey fabric we are getting. But afterwards, that grey fabric is being sent to the dyeing or printing for processing. There are again certain processing losses. So what we were used to do is like we are just reconciling it in terms of value, but in terms of quantity, nobody is reconciling. The reason being, okay, the value is telling we have sent this much of the fabric, we have booked this much of provision within books. We know this is a standard waste out there. Once you are sending any product for processing, that's a standard waste. So we are booking it, but nobody is reconciling the inventory part of the thing. And that is pooling in between two entities, like XYZ entities are always unreconciled in terms of the quantities. And I won't be sharing numbers, but once we have reconciled this thing with the vendors, that's a huge number down there. And we have realized that, and there I would say that maybe in a normal way of things, they are doing it for quite long, for last 10, 20 years. They say it's normal, but somebody new coming in or looking at it from a different perspective, in a financial perspective, he realizes that, okay, I'm booking a provision of 5%, but maybe I'm losing 10% in the fabric down there as well, lying free or at my processing facilities down there. And that was, and at the end, once we reconciled, we realized that, okay, yes, we were booking a provision of 3%, but the fabric line or the wastage in the terms of fabric is getting around 4 to 5%. There are multiple such examples. Like these days, again, we are working on production efficiencies. This is again one of the practical aspects. Now the thing is, like, why we are doing production efficiencies is like my technical head or my plant head says that our production capacity or production efficiency is this much. Now on the other side is based on that production efficiency, we have certain 5 years plan next going forward. Now, he's claiming that we are operating around 70-75% production efficiency. So if we want to grow by 30% year on year, then we need a new manufacturing facility down there. Now my first question is, how reliable is this manufacturing efficiency or the plant efficiency as of today? Because based on that efficiency, if we are already consuming 100% of it, then I will be thinking about the new manufacturing facility, which is gonna cost me billions of rupees and a lot of hassle around. That's my first question to them. Okay, how are you verifying this production efficiency down there? And again, to our surprise, once we digged it into, we have found certain anomalies out there as well. Not a major anomalies, but yes, they are there. So this is why I say that whatever the decisions coming in, most of the time at CFO levels, we are doing strategic decision making only. But for taking those strategic decisions, I need to understand the commercial dynamics. Based on the tables, based on only the data, I receive hundreds of reports on daily basis with multiple numbers around. I cannot say that I only rely on those numbers. I need to keep my eyes open as well. I need to walk into the plant as well to see on my own what's happening around. So that is why I must say, whatever you guys take out of this whole webinar, but I always suggest that take anything else or take nothing out of this, but make sure that wherever you are, whatever you are doing, understand the dynamics around. Even if you are passing an entry within the bookkeeping entry, I always insist my juniors down there that even if somebody is asking you to park an entry, understand the reason why is this entry being parked. Even a simple book entry, you need to ask, why do you want me to park this entry? I don't want to listen this thing that tomorrow, if some audit is going on, you come back to me, okay, XYZ has asked me to park this entry on there, or we are doing this entry for last 5 years. No, that's not the case. We need to understand why are we parking this book entry. Same goes for the rest of the accounting work as well. So once you have a commercial understanding, once you have the whole dynamics, once you understand the real purpose behind whatever you are doing, I believe me, you will start enjoying it. You will start adding value to it, because once you understand it, you know what sort of value are you adding out of it. And this is where you start enjoying your work. This is where I enjoy my work. Whatever I do, I first understand why I'm here, why I'm doing it, why the organization doing it, how are they doing it, and where can I add value. Simple questions, and one always gets through. You have to roll on your sleeves and get into things. This bookkeeping, working capital management, internal audits, all the time, whenever I meet most of the professionals, they are talking about these things. One part everyone is speaking about is about taxation. And it's very unfortunate because of the fact that our tax regimes are very complex. Like in any industry, like in textile industry, there are few tax guys all around. Multiple taxes are applicable in one transaction. And that is making things more complex. The day our government makes it simple, I strongly believe that the compliance level will increase as well. The corruption will decrease as well, because you have to monitor a very simple transaction down there, the single rate. Now we have provincial taxes on one side, we have federal taxes on the other side, then we have multiple duties around. So we keep on. We have a huge tax department down in the organization. It's considered one of the most critical department, which is only doing the compliance all around. And most of the times, the people sitting in the C-suite or people sitting as CEOs and CEOs consider them a big hurdle in the whole transaction, because they always come up with something. Okay, this is a risk. Which I'm not saying that they are doing a wrong thing, but yes, they always come up with a risk. They never come up with with something positive, unfortunately. And thanks to the government, that is your job. They are doing a perfect job in terms of highlighting the issues. But that is always critical. Whenever they come into a room, I always like, okay, come on, there's something. There's something. And on daily basis, like most of the organizations I work with, like if you talk about my previous organizations, Carrefour, with Levi's, even with outfitters, there are tax notices every other day. We are used to it. Whether you are compliant or you're non-compliant, you are getting notices in the same proportion. Even if you are compliant, you are getting more notices. So why are you compliant? So that is again an issue. We are highlighting it in multiple forums whenever we meet with government officials. We are highlighting it. Even yesterday, they have called a meeting by this one meeting called by a senior official down there. We have raised some concerns. Again, for the sake of the challenge, sake of the sharing the challenge we are facing currently, is like recently in our retail sector, they have changed the tax regime altogether. From those entities who are even compliant with or registered with FPR, their invoices uploaded by FPR, who are integrated, the tax rate has increased from 7% to 13 or 14%. Now the question is like, what am I supposed to do? You are just informing me about this aspect in June, 30th June, while my product which I have offered is already in the stores. Most of it is already in the stores. Like for any entity, they are carrying at least 15-30 days of inventory in stores already. Most of it is in almost 30-60 days of inventory is in production as well, for which I have done already some costing around. And everything with this, the 8% of things, the whole fiasco around. Everyone was thinking, okay, how to comply. And the amazing part again, there again, if you look at the practical aspect of thing, if anybody in here with the retail side in the who is attending the webinar in this room, you must understand that for 100 stores it takes around three months of time in the whole circulation in order to get those inventories audited. And the government guys want this audited, all those 100 stores audited within the time frame of 1 day, with one individual. So these are the practical aspects that are missing. And I'm not saying that that the government is not listening to it. Like yesterday, even with the meeting with the government officials, we have shared our concerns that, and they are into it. They are listening to it. But again, this whole process takes time and creates challenge for the current industry. So any of the process in a textile with its whole complexity around this whole process complexity, you have to be involved. Again, I'm again and again reiterating, I'm not at all bothered about bookkeeping. If you are professionally qualified accountants, believe me, whenever I'm interviewing anybody around, I never check his accounting skills. You know how to do debit credits. To me, accounting is just debit credits, nothing else. Once you know that double entry system, you can do it. For taxation, I know that I can, even if at this point in time, even if I have to get any tax advice, I have to open that tax ordinance down there, even at this level. I cannot remember all those sections naturally. And with number of changes coming in every passing day, it's very difficult. With every passing day is a new SRO. It's very difficult to keep track of that. Same goes for your for rest of the compliances. But yes, where you can add value is towards its commercial. There these professionals have to come up or step up, and that's the only thing that will grow you to the next level. That bookkeeping might not. Always at certain point in time, people are complaining that we are not getting increments, we are not getting growth. I always ask them, okay, what were your last year achievements? You know, people say that we have done closing on time. So it's your job. Okay, you are doing closing on time, but there, what sort of value have you added? Maybe I would have put it in another way. If even I've done the closing on time, I would have put it in another way. I would have said that, okay, I've done that particular compliances. We have managed the corporate governance compliances. We have done our audit within 4 years because of the fact that I closed the books on time. Okay, fine. It's a way to put things up. Even if you are doing something, okay, at least put it up in the right way. At least it looks like that you have added value. So for me, the one part which again I end up with the same thing, add the commercial aspect. So I think it's open for
much. I think very important discussion, and if you look at Jawad's speech just in this half an hour, to me he has proven that he has a bird's eye view of everything happening, within his organization, everything literally. Right? He even indicated that he has to represent his organization or his sector to the government. He has to debate policies with the government. He's to negotiate, which is what we were doing yesterday. Yeah. So I mean, and that is the key. That is the key of, or in fact, the definition of a professional accountant going into the future, which is what ACCA also has been reiterating time and again, that if you are in roles as simple as bookkeeping, internal auditing, etc., these are going to get outdated very soon, right? And unless you have anything else to bring to the table, which is very nicely defined as value, quote unquote, in rupee terms, in value terms, in cost saving terms, in profitability terms, in contribution to the bottom line, unless that contribution is visible, right? You're just another entity in the organization. I think phenomenal report, fantastic report that the minute you join an organization, the first thing that should be on your desk is to know the entire organization, build a commercial acumen around it. So I think that sort of goes to show how professionals, when they're given responsibility, how do they view things. Thank you very much, Jawad. Very, I think everyone in here could relate to the conversation that we're doing. We have 2 questions, and just because your speech about the sordid state of affairs in the textile sector was very heart-touching, we got 2 questions straight away about that. So, in fact, 3 now. So the first question is from Sayyid Ali Khalid Naqvi. He's saying, if corrective measures or policies are implemented by the government, how much time period will it take to be competitive for Pakistan in comparison with other countries such as Bangladesh, Vietnam, or Ethiopia?
Yeah, it's a very nice question. Like, it's every other day that people are asking that, okay, if you do this thing, how much time will it take? So it's not a blink of eye. Of course, if any policy will be implemented right away, then it will take certain time. Means a season, a couple of seasons, or 2 seasons a year, because it's not only that you have lost the competitiveness, you have lost the value in terms of the importers down there as well. It's very difficult to negotiate the contracts down there. It's not only that government is making a policy and you are getting non-competitive in the market. There are multiple aspects to it. You have to prepare for it. Like most of the industries were exporting and now closed. It was not like tomorrow government comes in and they changes, okay, we are withdrawing this tax, okay, start production from tomorrow. No, it's not like that. There are multiple aspects to it. You have to arrange your raw materials. You have to have your plant capacity back into order. You have to get your machinery back into order. You have to arrange the labor. You have to, and on top of it, before arranging every such thing, you have to manage our contract as well. Which is like normally these exporters are not contracting for seasons. They are contracting for at least for a year's time or 3 years time. Even I won't quote the entity's name, but recently some of the export oriented entities in Pakistan have entered into 10 years contract as well. So this is the dynamics we are facing. So it's not a blink of eye. It's all dependent on multiple aspects. So it is not right or wrong answer to it. Maybe some industries can have it in one go. Maybe some industries would take a year or so getting back into order. So that depends on the industry.
Given sir, specifically about textile industry, हमारे contract की length को अगर इससे modify नहीं कर सकते, given कि मैं जो अगर अपना hedging या बाकी चीजें risk को accordingly manage करना है, उसे accordingly मैं अगर अपने contracts की length को और उसके बाद strategies भी आप पहले आपको predict हम लोग कर भी सकते हैं, उससे accordingly manage कर सकते हैं.
So as far as the contracts are concerned, so remember that there is the other side, on the other side of the table, there are equally competent people around, and maybe we don't have a data of our competitors with us to that extent, but they have, because they have other ports around as well. So they are competing it all across, and we are not competing in Pakistan. We are competing with 3 other entities, like or 4 other entities like China, India, Ethiopia, and Wales, Bangladesh, and now Vietnam as well. So we are competing with them. So we have to be very, very vigilant in terms of data gathering, data analysis, and as far as that multiple aspects of hedging and rest of the things are concerned, it's all dependent how much data you have, what sort of analysis are you doing upfront on that. So of course, whenever you are signing any contract, you are hedging certain risks on, of course, as per your data appetite, whatever the information you have. So whatever we are doing, but whenever we are signing any contract, we are of course going through all those exercises whereby we try to mitigate multiple risks around. That is part of it. But nobody can, again, don't take it as a negative, but nobody can predict, or at least I wasn't predicting 6 months back that our currency will devalue by 30%.
I mean, you can't eliminate, but you can mitigate.
Yeah, that's what we are doing. But unfortunately, whatever is happening last 1 year, 1.5 years or so in terms of economy, most of the things are not predicted. So that is why this whole fiasco has started. But yes, government is doing multiple steps to correct them, and it will come back to order, inshallah.
I think one very important factor, and that is consistency of government policies or predictability. If that element is missing, the business confidence automatically shuts.
That's what it is. That's all. At least even in the Western world, what we see is like whenever the government is changing, at least the policies are intact. Unfortunately, for our side, when the government is changing, they bring up their own policies down around.
So I raise the question: how you industries being an industry, how you are negotiating or taking steps or making realize the government that your policies and your commanding again and again these regimes will impact, how you are negotiating or making them realize the government?
Yeah. So as far as our aspect, or as far as being a professional, not only for this particular industry, but all across whatever coming in. It's like yesterday we had a meeting with government officials down there, where they have called certain industrialists all around, or the finance professionals or tax professionals all around, and we have discussed. On top of it, there are multiple forums available, and Ministry of Finance is there, then this Board of Investment is there. So you keep on raising your concerns at that forum.
So do you think they are?
Yes, they are working. They are working. As far as if you ask me, I met Board of Investment guys multiple times. Again, quoting somebody won't be good, but yes, they were very helpful as far as the CARFO is concerned. Even currently in terms of outfitters, we are meeting with government officials every now and then, and they are listening to us. See, few things are in their hand, few things are not in their hand, few things we know only in interest of our company might not be interest of the country as well. So they have to keep the country interest as well. So it's a both way around. But yes, we keep on raising our concerns, and sometimes they get addressed, sometimes they don't get addressed. But for us, keep on knocking. Our part is to keep on knocking the right thing. If you are on facts, then keep on knocking. There's no point fighting with the government, but at least keep on raising your concerns.
Jawad, from the time when Masood Textiles was being bought over, there was Chinese flocking around in the country. When Macy's and stores like and Marks and Spencer and Next and all these brands, literally when you used to turn them around, you say made in Pakistan.
Yeah.
From that time to now, I think one factor probably which has not very vigorously moved will be the labor cost.
Yeah.
Which is the main attraction for companies to enter into. but probably other than that, everything else has changed,
That's
which makes the input cost.
Sure.
Is that the main reason why we're not attractive anymore for, or are there policies like child labor or safety and health and safety measures or affluent treatments, etc.? Are they the main hindrance, from us exporting or manufacturing for these big names?
Yeah. So I still remember when I was with PwC, so I used to do audits for global social compliances. So global social compliance is used to ensure all international laws and regulations, all those labor laws, all those child labor, health and safety regulations being applied. So I've done audits of 150, 160 textiles. I don't remember any textile which is an export unit, and I have not visited. That I'm telling you about the time period of 2008 to 2012. Sorry, 2004 to 2008. So most of them are compliant. Most of them were compliant. The sport units are compliant out there. Were supplying to Walmart, were supplying like Nike or Kids Headquarters or Target, so on and so forth. What I feel is like at this point now, apart from these policies around or increase in cost, one part is like we have not built the technical skill set of the labor. They are not any schools. Even if they are not effective. This is one part. Because if your labor is not technically sound, then it's naturally taking more time in production. It's bringing efficiency down. And secondly, we are not keeping ourselves aligned with the technology as well. Again, these are two parts. One is like commercial sense in between the industrialists down here, that they don't understand the impact or the quality improvement or the efficiency improvement through the new machinery, through new technology all around. Or secondly, it's like with a given scenario, it's not commercially viable to them as well, or economically viable to them. Like for most of the technologies which are available down in the west side on all those countries, they are not. Still, I can see multiple entities who are still doing manual cutting within on the cutting floors, while this manual cutting is obsolete as of today. You cannot keep the consistency of the fabric being cut when it's being cut manually. You cannot ensure consistency. And again, it takes more time. The laser cutting is available, which is like do it very quickly. You have to invest on that. So again, to me, it's not only the policies. Again, one of the major aspect is the technical skill set of labor, and the training aspect. This unemployment, even there's multiple things going on. These people are unemployed. They chip in. And on the other side of the thing, again, if you ask me, like sometimes it gets the challenge for us even to get the worker for our staging unit. If you want to increase, if you want to have a second or second shift within the entity, don't find a labor or a technical labor or who knows how to work. So I think that is one part which needs to be worked on.
And how far has EPMA played a role in mitigating these, you can say, government policies based and taxation rules?
They are doing good job. There are multiple associations like in terms of retail, the Retail Association of Pakistan. In terms of EPMA, for textiles, EPMA for textile manufacturing is all Pakistan textile manufacture processing as well. So there are multiple associations all around who are playing their part. Again. One must remember that all those associations are being done by those industrialists. So these all guys are among us. So they know what the natural problem, what the problems are, and they keep on raising the concerns. And it's not like if you look at the media, if you are reading the news, again, if you don't know the whole dynamics of the industry, sometimes feel okay. Why are they going on strike every other day? Because we don't understand the dynamics they are facing currently. Maybe if they run their plants, it will be losses. Why would any industry, it's like you have invested the money, say you have certain money you have invested. Why would you purposely invest it for making a loss? I will prefer to shut down the plant and keep the money aside and move on.
Which brings me to this point about government's monetary policy also.
Yeah.
With the interest rates going so high, people stashing their money in banks or in their pillows.
True.
Are there enough avenues for the banks to loan money out to corporates? If the money is sitting there, is it providing value? isn't your chief executive no better off putting all his money, and like I said, shutting down the
Yeah.
plant and putting all his money
Yeah.
in a fund and for a 2-year, 10-year, longer, earn better interest.
But that is again this
The rent-seeking attitude.
I do agree that few of the industries are thinking that way as well. There are certain pros and cons. Whenever you are preparing a proposition, you are considering all those aspects.
True.
That is part and parcel of it. That whenever this new monetary policy comes in, we are looking at it at different aspects as well. Government is looking at different aspects. They have to curtail the inflation as well. They have to look into multiple other things all around. But yes, whenever this interest rate increases, this increases the cost of doing business because most of the industries in Pakistan are leveraged. They have loans, so it quickly increases from 6% to 13.5%. That is around like 7.5% of the increase. On the other side, there is an increase of taxation from 8%. Some zero rating has been removed as well. So that is, just imagine the cost of doing business getting increased within a time frame of just one night. That's how it works. Yeah, sure.
Okay. Sir, how do you predict changes which will affect your industry?
So as far as I'm concerned, like Googling all the time. That's what I'm doing. I'm pretty open and then into reading a lot of literature around. Then I have affiliation with multiple organizations or member of like 5 or 6. I felt recognized entities, so I'm getting a lot of literature from them as well. I myself writing articles in the newspapers. Most of the time listening to talk shows around as well in my free time, reading newspapers, reading all those financial data, and then on top of it, fortunately or unfortunately at my level, I am in part of certain WhatsApp groups, which are technically which have all those bankers down there as well. All those discussions are going on. Whenever the monetary policy used to come, they are predicting the multiple data coming in. Like even at the night when I in the morning when I wake up, it's like 600 to 700 messages in all those groups. So you have to choose whether you have to read or whether you have to ignore them. But it's a lot of data that you have to capture. Like for the sake of example, like I read this news of decline of 27% in cotton production. Just like I got one news pop up in my WhatsApp group. So I read it, I opened it, I read it. Now it's directly relevant to me because down the road, in 6 months' time, I will not be able to procure the same fabric at the same price because the entity down there will say that 27% cotton was down. I imported this cotton and I cannot sell you at the same price. So now I have to foresee. I've already shared the news with our PPC guys and the merchandisers and I've discussed with CEO as well. Okay, keep this aligned. Same goes for we work a lot on the currency as well. Like every month, what I'm doing as far as the finance guy, I'm using one financial bulletin in my organization. What financial bulletin is about the prediction for the next 6 months of different parameters based on my own research. So that's what sometimes it clicks, sometimes it doesn't click, but that's part and parcel.
Sir, how do you see the growth trends in textile industry after this 2 to 3 year transition period?
Growth trends.
Textile.
So the trend, of course, is slow. At this point in time, as I've told you, that they are contributing 8% into the GDP.
After this transition period.
See, the transition, if the growth in terms of percentage might not decline because the economy itself is shrunk.
Yeah.
So the growth might not, in terms of percentage, might not impact, but in terms of value terms, it will. And that is interlinked with the economy. So if there is no activity, things will come down. But in terms of exports, fortunately or unfortunately, this whole devaluation has helped the exporters a lot because they will be able, the contracts have already been negotiated already, but for the next 1 year or so, they will be able to hunt it. Afterwards, the international counterparts are also aware that they consider devalued this much. So they are running a lot out of this devaluation in terms of exports. They will start playing in. But yes, to me, in terms of percentage, it won't be a decline because the economy has shrunk altogether. Otherwise, in terms of industry, multiple industries are closing as of today. Every passing day you hear that certain processing plants are closed or certain manufacturing plants are closed.
Do you feel that textile industry might be in dangerous because of CPAC and Chinese market coming in?
So that is a question which is in the news for last many years now. The question is like we need to evaluate the whole proposition. if the Chinese are coming in, they are pulling up industries within Pakistan, then it will generate economic activity in Pakistan. So that industry will be in Pakistan. There will be a flow of dollars in Pakistan as well, because they will be either they might be exporting out of Pakistan. That will earning money. So this whole proposition around, we need to understand the proposition.
Yeah.
Because
They might be bringing technical facilities.
there's all this multiple things coming in. Then with their technical facilities, I've just few minutes back I mentioned about the technology. The Chinese are very well equipped down there. So they are bringing new technology. In last few days I was sitting with somebody. I'm hearing about one export processing zone which is only for sorry special economic zone only for Chinese companies. It's only been approved by the government. It's not. It will be public in days to come. There's a news around, and if this comes in, that's only for Chinese companies. So when they come in, they will like, generate activity. Now there are certain. If you see the flip side of it, people say that Chinese might not hire Pakistani people around. They will be only doing labor work. They will be getting these export process proceeding down there in China. So there, I say the government needs to chip in. They need to bring in the policies whereby they show that whatever they are exporting, the proceedings are coming in Pakistan, and from there the dividends are going. At the end, of course, if the Chinese come in, dividend will go. But this whole processing, this inward and outward flow will remain intact for certain days. It's not like dividend tomorrow. Today I'm receiving the proceeding, and tomorrow I'm releasing the dividend. It's not like that. At least the currency is coming in fluctuation in processing as well. That's how it is. So everything is on process. It's all about how the government going to deal it. There are a lot of rumors around. There are a lot of reservations around. But I must say that I'm pretty hopeful. If you ask me as an individual, I'm pretty hopeful from this whole project. It's going to generate economic activity if all those flip sides are being addressed to the government policies. That's all.
So the textile sector is aware about the automation and artificial intelligence that journalists would be bringing near future. So how the textile industry in Pakistan would look into it and how they will face this issue.
So again, as far as the awareness is concerned, so I must say the awareness is there. There are multiple international seminars or international exhibitions going on, where most of these textile entities, relevant individuals are attending. There was one recently in China, then there was one recently in Spain as well. And as far as Pakistan is concerned, they are doing certain activities within the Expo Center every now and then. I'm not sure whether you have ever attended, but yes, they are. Again, to me, it's like they also need to understand the value proposition, and secondly, they need to understand the whole efficiency part of it. And third is like maybe government again needs to play that role whereby they need to give certain exemptions to the industries in order to procure or in order to get all those new technology or this whole artificial intelligence blah blah. As far as the Pakistan is concerned, again in terms of this technology side or all this AI, we are listening every passing day. We are very well equipped. We have very good individuals and very good companies already available in Pakistan. As far as technology part is concerned, yes, there is a gap, and I think government has to announce its IT policy or technology policy with certain exemptions to all those industries around there. They are exemptions, but again, I must say that they still need certain. They need more. They need more.
First, I would like to share. Last year, I was sitting with some taxation guys, and we were discussing the same topic. Okay, there is a ban for new entrants due to taxation policies and everything. And one of them told me that there is a 5-year exemption under Section 65D on the income tax withheld or tax deducted at source for every new organization, every new entity to be listed in Pakistan. Isn't it just cut down your initial cost up to 17%, and you just earlier said that it has risen from 8% to 17%?
See, the thing is like, okay, let me share with you the practicality of the 65D as well. So for us, like we have a manufacturing entity, we have got a 65D we were very happy that okay, we will not be having any issue in terms of getting the exemption. I have to withhold 6 months withhold tax of my manufacturing entity from retail side, and I have to pay to government. It's useless to me that it's getting useless very passingly. Means every I'm not saying that it's completely useless, but there are always issues to it. They always come up with certain glitch down there whereby you have to either stop looking into it, or either you have to find certain other means to get it facilitated or speed it up. But yes, there are essentials available. And on top of it, the withholding is not the only thing around. We must understand that there are multiple aspects to it. As far as okay, in a way I'm able to get exemption in terms of withholding, but there are multiple aspects in the whole value chain. There are certain registered suppliers, then there are unregistered suppliers, there are multiple constraints to it, then there's different forms of sales taxes and commercial taxes, and so on and so forth. There are multiple things which makes it complex. The ease of doing business is not only facilitating in terms of taxation or anything, that is in terms of operations as well. This is where the whole thing is missing, or they are trying to improve it. It will take certain time. Everything like for us as well. Again, if you ask me, maybe I have 100 expectations from the government, but on the other side, government has millions of expectations on the table as well. So they have to prioritize, and we need to understand that part as well. It's a two-way process.
I wanted to ask if Pakistan is producing inferior quality cotton or yarn, that is why we are exporting 30%, or is it not fulfilling our demands of manufacturing process? And can we facilitate our farmers in order to produce good cotton, superior quality yarn, so we could steal back the share of our exports?
Yes, for sure. That is again, we are importing because we are not unable to feed the current industry. That is, there are not aspects to it. And then on top of it, the quality of the cotton as compared to rest of the countries, then the rates we are getting out of it. It's only not about quality; it's again about the rates. If I'm getting the same sort of quality with better rates from importing the product, I will go for it. There's one aspect to it. And then of course, the timely deliveries. There are multiple aspects involved to it again. In terms of like, if you are saying that we need to facilitate our farmers, again that policy has to come from the government side. Maybe yes, I have shared in one forum that maybe this thing can be done through Optima as well, whereby these 20 odd industries get together and facilitate certain farmers counting like we did in terms of my last entity Carrefour. We pooled up. We have we and one of the other FMCG giant in the market. We pooled up and we have engaged certain farmers around, and we have booked the whole farms for 3 years on. Now we are supplying with them all those facilities down. We want to get a better product at our given price and in a given quality. So that can be done. This is one of the options which is always on the table with them. But again, it's not only about farmers. It's a whole chain. There are multiple challenges to it. It's not only the farmer. There are multiple people around from farmer till the market, and that mafia around, I would say, or that whole value chain down there. There are multiple aspects to it. We are talking about facilitating the farmers, but here sometimes it's like almost like an hour back. I was sitting with one of the individuals whereby we were discussing, okay, in terms of northern areas, there are certain roads which are not being prepared because the local guys down there have a business of jeeps. They won't let you get the roads being constructed because they have their own stake. Same goes in here as well. So there are multiple stakes around. So again, government as well as industry both have to collaborate and play a vital role in this.
Quite a few questions coming on. People really enjoying this conversation. So there's this question that Asif Rahim had asked, and I think Asif, your information is not current. He's saying, okay, I want to ask a question that our textile industry is at risk due to economic problems being encountered. What do you see the future of the textile industry? Is it that it will move to Bangladesh or Sri Lanka or remain in Pakistan after having all these detriments in place? So the industry is already moved to Bangladesh.
That is already
and from Bangladesh on to Vietnam and other
Vietnam and
places.
so we already.
Yeah.
That is the challenge we are currently facing. But yes, it can be addressed as we have discussed already. What needs to be addressed in order to get things back on track.
And by the way, the charter of economy that we are now thinking about, Bangladesh, you know,
Yeah.
the IM came just as she came and said all these political decisions aside, but the economy is going to go to remain stable. Sayyid Ali Ghalib Naqvi is very active, asking a lot of questions, saying thank you for your very professional insight. And he says, are our SMV and SAM values at par with other countries?
Yeah, that's a very good question. The guy who is technically sound and commercially savvy, I must say. Yeah, that again, as far as that's where I said that the technical skill set of labor and the technology, these two things are playing a very bad role or a very important role in terms of this misalignment between us and the rest of the countries. Their efficiencies are much higher than what we have currently in our industry, in most of our industries. So that this is talking about the production per minute or the machine efficiency per minute. This is what the guy is asking me whether it's a standard with others. And thereby I say already that our technical skills are our labor. There's not training schools all around. They are learning from their own experience. And the second part is technology. They both play a very vital role in getting this aligned. So yes, I must say the standard is a bit better. We have to follow.
The next one is, what's your take on World Fashion Convention? Someone from the industry.
No, as far as see, the thing is like we have our own dynamics, we have our own constraints. The thing which is working, the product which is working in China might not work in Pakistan. One of the examples we were discussing yesterday as well that the Chinese industries, earlier they were doing most of the exports and currently they are manufacturing internally and they are pretty happy out there because Chinese uptake of fashion or Chinese uptake is different than the rest of the world. So even their in-house production, their in-house consumption, in-country consumption is helping them or is it helping their own country. They don't need exports. Their own economy is being driven by the local industry as well. They're happy with it. But yes, the part is like as far as those one can think of exporting those garments it's being produced out there, but the Chinese fashion industry might not be uptaking with the one within Pakistan, might be abreast with one in USA. There are multiple aspects to it. It's country to country it varies. But yes, there are certain common things like Nike selling selling one sort of design all across the board. But that is not all the brand value or all the brands are not doing the same thing. There are multiple local brands as well. So which are taking care of the local industry dynamics. Means even when I was with Levi's, then the jeans back there or the fittings back there in USA are entirely different than the fittings back there in Pakistan. Especially in terms of the females. Especially in terms of the kids. Those fittings which are available down in USA is not fitting within the Pakistan as well. So there are multiple aspects to it. We cannot say that everything is aligned, but yes, nice initiative goes on, and we have to pull up with the global economy as well.
Great, thank you. Usman Pervez said, very good discussion, thank you. And then Sayyid Ali Ghalib again is asking, what's your insight on further initiatives of economic processing zones, having international as well as local companies to provide energy relief, to ease tax and customs processes, to reduce lead time in order to promote exports?
There's the one way around. Like I've just shared that a few days back, I was sitting with certain Chinese companies. There's one news in the market as well about this Chinese export with Chinese special economic zones. That is there, which is getting, which is pulling a very passing day. The problem is that if you just Google it around, export processing zones in Pakistan, they were supposed to be one in Faisalabad, they were supposed to be one in Shekhupura, they were supposed to be one XYZ. There are supposed to be many, but they are not aligned. And again, if you want to go to the special processing zones, then again there are multiple challenges down there. Then how to approach and what sort of compliances you have to be in order to be in those zones. And then space constraints as well. Like for the sake of example, that back there in Lahore, the special zone, there are certain space constraints as well. So you have to keep your industry within that space constrained in order to be in that zone. But yes, this is, the special economic zones is one of the part that will not only boost the overall economy, but the dynamics of that particular area where that industry is being constructed.
Okay, and I think that's almost brings us to conclusion of this conversation. One final comment from probably the most active online participants here, Ali Wale, was saying, great conversation, thank you very much.
Pleasure, it's my pleasure.
I think quite enlightful conversation. What do you guys think? Excellent. Sajid, may I request your presence here, and a lot of the discussions that you started off with, which was around accountants providing economic value or value to an organization, and what value could that be? A lot of those messages were echoed by Jawad as well today. I think coming directly from the source. So, and some excellent conversation coming from our online participants as well. Your concluding thoughts. What messages should the participants take away?
So, yeah. So thank you. It's number one, thank you, Jawad, for taking our time. It's weekend, Friday, but I always believe that's where the accountant fraternity in totality are always geared up to contribute, and we spare that time, and it's important for everybody. And we encourage everybody, when you get the chance and you get that opportunity, so please do the same. I think that this morning we were having a similar conversation around what we should do and what we should know around, if we are talking about the career and the progression, and if we really want to excel, we want to do something. I think the conclusion of today's conversation in the morning was we have to become a better human being. And when we talk about becoming a better human being, we are talking about having a knowledge base which can help us to really evaluate the right and wrong things. Ethics is one of a key area. And accountants, when we are talking about the accountants particularly, we're talking about the ACCAs, we take great pride in EPSM, the Ethics and Professional Skills module. And that's where we would like everybody to demonstrate that in their everyday life. And when we say ethics, so it doesn't end that कि आपने एक अच्छा काम कर लिया या एक बुरा काम कर लिया. Even when you're working in the industry, you are bound to upgrade your knowledge. You are bound to understand the industry and industry dynamics. If you are providing an opinion, that opinion should not be a sweeping statement. नहीं हो सकती China खा गया, पाकिस्तान जो है वो तबाह बर्बाद होने लगा क्योंकि हमारा fiscal deficit. That's not true. Right? So those opinions and the conversation should be based on the knowledge base. That's something which is important, which include, if you're a member, there's a CPD, but most importantly, hearing somebody like Jawad, interacting with them, trying to really make an effort like you people are doing right now, the people who are online who are doing right now, to understand what the textile industry means, what the fashion industry means, where it's heading, it's a good thing or it's a bad thing. Try to understand the perspective which other people have, and appreciate the diversity of the opinion and the knowledge which exists out there, and then apply your independent, objective judgment to really evaluate that what you have learned or heard out of that. And then when you make a statement or you guide somebody, then it's become ethical guidance which you should be doing. So becoming a better human being has got different perspective. It has got many dimensions. And one of the dimension is to be very, very ethical when you are sharing your knowledge or opinion with somebody as an accountant specifically, because your opinion matters. Day one, we discussed that you are providing opinion and somebody is basically incurring, or there's a cash flow on the other end. So your opinion, somebody is investing, your opinion, somebody is divesting. They are making a payment on an accounts payable invoice, and they are investing in the different countries based on the opinions which the accountants are providing. So the better human being has got multiple dimensions. So try to understand what level of effort you are putting in and be proud of it. Like if you are sitting here today and you are making an effort, I'm sure family must be cursing, पता नहीं कहाँ चले जाते हैं इतने दिनों से जा ही जा रहे हैं और आके कहते हैं कि पता नहीं 6 digit क्या होने लगा so पता नहीं क्या गुफ्तगू भी चेंज होनी शुरू हो गई है हम पे भी इतराज करते हैं कि मतलब चीजों को ऑब्जेक्टिवली देखो और सब गुफ्तगू करो कभी कहते हैं ये चीज सही नहीं है इसको इस तरीके से मैं पता नहीं क्या कर to become a better human. So this effort, you should take a pride and you should be happy about it. And that's what you should take back to your families, your colleagues, your peers, and help them to understand the perspective around what a good human being looks like. And that's important. That's an important element. So I think again, thanks to people like Jawad, thanks to people like yourself, thanks to people who are online right now, we are very hopeful and optimistic that our society is going to evolve. There will be a generation who will be taking Pakistan forward. So there are people who are making those efforts, and there are people who are trying to become a better human. So it's a worth living world.
Thank you.
So thank you very much for taking your time.
Thank you very much. With that, I'll start off the webinar. Thank you very much, online participants, for joining in. And inshallah, we'll come up with such sessions in the future as well. Thank you very much. And